So how should the senior executives, kind of flipping the coin here, how would they measure the performance of the analytics team, short term and long term?
Yeah, it's a great question, and as you can expect, you measure the success of the analytics team just like you would any other project, a digital transformation project, enterprise resource planning, customer relationship management. It's all about return on investment. And when we started at CSL, we worked into our projects a value realization measurement system, and it sounds very fancy, but it really wasn't anything. It was looking at how many patients could we serve, how much time, how fast we could get to market, could we raise the efficiency of the manufacturing process and things like that. And we did it for the first, I think, 10 projects we did, and we showed significant return on investment, multiple millions of dollars, and my team certainly doesn't cost that. So we made sure that our early projects all had value realization metrics in the summaries, and when we were finished, and we could present back to the people that we were engaged with. And at this point, we've kind of moved away from that because it does take time to do that, and the organization knows that we are undertaking projects of strategic value, and we are going to be serious about the work that we do, and we are going to work towards a positive return, positive substantial return. So it generally, early on in the life of your team, you're going to have to work hard to make sure that the executives understand that you are doing the work that they expect you to do. After that, you probably don't need to focus on it as much, but it is an early requirement to make sure that you gain support and sponsorship from executives.
So my thinking is, if you do it right, an analytics team is adding tremendous business value, that you're going to end up with tremendous amount of requests from almost all over the enterprise, because this kind of success, it will bring a lot of work for you, right? So how do you prioritize when you have too many things on the plate for the analytics team? What How do you prioritize, and what drives the prioritize?
The way I've done it over the years, and the way I do it, is that we capture all the requests, and we put the strategic requests into a certain matrix, and then we take it back to a management group, and we put it to a vote. We have everybody look at it and say, hey, do you want us to work on commercial operations, or should we be working on manufacturing efficiency? And the executives give us guidance and tell us, this is the most important thing for the company. This is what we want you to work on. We have got clear guidance at this point that there's a certain part of our business they want us focused on, and we have the entire team focused there working on it. So there are projects that I think are really good ideas and that we can do quickly in 3 to 6 months, and I just make that decision and we do them. And other projects that will go on from 6 months to over a year, I put that to a committee of executives and let them make the decision.
Great. Going through the analytics development process, if you could describe all the steps in the process, so which will be developing the analytics, testing the analytics, and then going into productionizing the analytics, and if you could reflect on what roles analytics team plays during this process, what roles other people play a role in and of course, when I say productionize, obviously IT is going to be a part of that, and what role should they play and not play in the productionization of analytics?
Great question, and this is one that is very important. So we're going to talk about this for a little bit in our conversation, our back and forth, is that everybody has to understand that this is the point at where most analytic projects fail. And I think that's surprising for most people, because you've gotten buy-in from an executive, you got a subject matter expert, you've worked on this for months at a time, you've committed resources and data and effort, and you've built models, and you've done all sorts of things that have proven the models make a difference in operations. And to have the project fail at this point is disappointing for everybody, but it happens more frequently than you would expect. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what happens in that process and how you can improve the probability it will be successful for you. So we've done all the projects. Well, let's step back and talk a little bit more about how analytics projects and IT and production operations work. Analytics projects, as I said, are creative endeavors. In our first segment, we talked about that, where analytics professionals are more like artists than they are like IT or process-oriented professionals. So when you're doing your analytics cycle, you have people getting data, trying different models and methods and building different concepts and using algorithms to build models. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So you need that process to have a little bit of fluidity to it so it can have some flexibility to be successful. Once it's been successful, then you're going to move and you're going to start looking over at the production process. Now, in a pharmaceutical company, in a financial institution, many organizations, there is no creativity in the operational process. It runs with efficiency, and it runs to hit compliance. It runs to hit metrics.
Yeah,
It runs
yeah,
to deliver a certain return and efficiency to the organization. So you've got a kind of a free-flowing creative process. You've got a very controlled, efficient process. That you need something in between that, because you can't just graft those together. They don't work together. That's where you get fireworks, which you don't want. So I like to use the example of finance. We've often throughout my career have worked with finance in many different organizations. And generally what will happen with one of the finance executives is when we start is they say, hey, we've just gotten started. It seems like your team's up and running, and the month end close is in 2 weeks. Can you get all that work done so we can use it for the month end close? And we say, no, that's not the way it's going to work. That's not the way we do it. So what we say is, we're going to work over here and we're going to find things that work, and then we're going to slowly bring it over and transition it and insert it surgically and with methodology into the production process. Now, when you set it up that way and you explain it that way, I've never had a financial person say to me, okay, well, no, you got to get it done. It's you just get it done and insert it in there and it's going to work just fine. That's a recipe for failure. So you keep the creative part away from the production part, and when you're ready, you plan and bring it over. Now, you asked, what are the roles in that effort? Now, of course, you have the analytics team, you have the subject matter experts, and you have the IT professionals. It's a triumvirate, and everybody's working together. So in the beginning, the IT or the analytics and the subject matter experts are doing a lot of talking and
yeah.
working together. And then in the middle of that, you're looping in the IT team, and you're saying, okay, there was one example that I love to talk about. When I was at Dell, we did credit scoring. We helped build credit scores for a Northern European bank that was granting credit for consumer loans. And we found that if we refreshed the models every hour and inserted those into the system, they could move further into the credit market than any of their competitors, and they gained great market share from it. So we had to work very hard to understand the modeling side, then also the highly regulated financial systems that granted credit. So we worked very diligent on that. We were inserting new results into that in the end about every hour, and
Wow.
it was working really, really well. The credit analysts never knew that there were 5 or 6 neural nets working behind the scene. All they knew is there was a new number up in the corner of their screen, and that number, gave them a quantitative measure, but it also was coded red, green, and yellow as well. So that's one thing. That's the way it has to work. You can't shortcut the creative side. You can't shortcut the process side, and you can't cut the IT people out of it. You have to have all of those people working together, and it takes time to do this. It's not like, hey, we're done with the modeling, put it in tomorrow. That just doesn't work. You have to plan. This is a creative process. This is a rigid process. And there's a transition that has to be put in there that is a process-oriented, approach to things. So I've used that over and over and over again, years and years, and it's worked swimmingly every time. So that's the way I recommend you do it.
Thank you. That was a great example.